Okay, the first thing I want to talk about today is my kids, and let all of you know how much I love you and what you mean to me. You are my life, and I am so, so proud of each and every one of you. I do carry a burden of guilt about Chris. I feel that somehow I failed him. I failed to give him a feeling of self-worth and value, and I will forever live with that. The rest of you, each and every one of you, I am so proud of who you are, and we'll go from there one by one.
Favorite memories about Scott, Mom?
Of what?
Scott.
Scott? Well, he's my oldest, my firstborn. I have many, many memories of him, but the one I think of first, always, is when he was 2 and we were ready to have getting ready to have Marcia. We took him out of his baby crib and bought him a youth crib because we intended to put Marcia in his crib, in his room. We only had one bedroom for them then. And we didn't want him to feel displaced by his sister. So we got him a youth bed, and lo and behold, when we put him in bed at night, he could just get out. He didn't have anything to climb over anymore. So every night, he'd creep out into the living room. And my mom and dad were living with us at the time, and we would all get on him, and one of us would take him back to bed and give him you-know-what and tell him to stay there. And this went on, usually 5 or 6 trips every night. One night, we bought him a brand new pair of yellow pajamas with the feet in and everything. He looked like a little yellow fluff ball. And we put him to bed, and I didn't hear the door. I listened and listened. Was in the living room, didn't hear anything. So finally I went and opened up the door into the hall, and he was standing, leaning up against the frame of his bedroom door with his arms crossed and his right leg crossed over his left leg, his little toes standing there. And he looked up at me with this big grin, and he says, "Mommy, I a sunbeam. How can you get mad at a sunbeam?" God has always been my rock, my dependable one. I didn't know he used to lie and do all sorts of crazy things in Arizona, but I always looked at him as my responsible, caring young man that I could depend on and rely on. He always did well at everything he did, and I always felt that he had a great sense of responsibility, and I've always been very proud of Scott. I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of times all the things he has done wrong, but that doesn't matter in my eyes. He's always been a gentleman, a perfect son, and I love him with all my heart.
And what are some of your favorite qualities about Scott?
He's my son. He's my firstborn. He's dependable. I think he's honest. I think he is very responsible and dedicated to his work. I think he spent his entire life being an excellent, much highly regarded employee. And for those things, I always felt very proud.
Proud of. What the heck is wrong? Okay, it's going now.
Going now? Okay. Marcia, my first girl. Before she was born, her dad wanted a girl so bad. And of course, in those days, we didn't know. We had no way of knowing if we were going to have a boy or a girl. So we waited and we waited. And of course, she got here. She was a girl. And Pat was so happy that after he left the hospital to go home and take care of her big brother, he did a great big leap out in the sidewalk and knocked his shin, fell down flat over the fire hydrant. One way to celebrate. He got his girl.
Nice.
Marcia is very highly intelligent. So intelligent that I don't even begin to try and contend with her brain. I rely on her a great deal for many things. She's wise as well as intelligent. She will give anyone excellent advice if they come to her, but she won't push it at you unless you ask. She is a very decent, upstanding lady, and I'm proud of who she is. Marcia, very proud of her being a lead mechanic and a crew chief at American. Of all things, your daughter is a mechanic. How about that? She learned that from her brother and her dad. Not her dad, Chet. And Marcia has always been my right hand. She's always confided in me. She's always been honest with me. I have depended on Marcia far too much. I have put responsibility on her that she probably shouldn't have had on her shoulders, and that was trying to take care of her flighty little sister, Kathy. They were a pair. Kathy, my little cockaminky. Kathy was the best baby of all 10 of you. She didn't cry. She never fussed. I could put her on a blanket in the living room when she was 9 months old and the other 2 kids were watching TV. And when I went back to get her, she'd be right there, still complacent, good baby. Unfortunately, she took a wrong path when she was a teenager, left home, got into some bad habits. But Kathy is and always has been a loving, caring individual. She will do anything for anybody. And I love her so very much for that quality. She is an angel. We all know that. Kathy is an angel. Something else again. Chris came into this world before he should have. He
was premature. He was premature.
Yeah, he was premature. The prenatal, his cord was wrapped around his neck, and the doctor said that he had not grown because that was nature's way of saving his life. So he was born early, and the doctor was quick and very excellent pediatrician, OB, I mean, and he saved his life. He had to unwrap that from his neck in order for him to breathe. Chris was so tiny, he weighed 4 pounds, 13 ounces. We put him in a shoebox just to take pictures of him. He was so little. Chris always had something against the world. He was always I don't even know how to express it, negative one. When he was a baby and I started feeding him food, if he didn't like it, most babies will just shove it out. He wouldn't. He would spit it with force right in my face if he didn't like it. From the very get-go, Chris had mannerisms and feelings that were negative, confusing. I don't know what it was. I had problems dealing with Chris. Chris would bite the other kids. When Glenn was a baby, Chris would go over to the playpen, and if Glenn put his fingers out, Chris would bite him.
What are your favorite memories of Chris?
My favorite memories of Chris is his sweet other side. He was angelic. He was a beautiful soul. And I honestly think he was a lost soul. And I also feel that I am very responsible for his demise because I just never knew how to communicate with Chris. He would just, I knew toward the end that he would either be killed or kill himself. So I wasn't surprised when we lost him, but I'll never get over it. It gets easier, but it'll never go away.
Glenn.
I'm not sure how to start with Glenn. But I'll just say this. He was a very tiny baby, believe it or not. He was born when we lived in Hayward on Carolyn Drive, and we had a huge group of families there. Kids played together, and we played together. We played poker every Saturday night. And when Glenn was about 3 months old, he woke up while we were playing poker, and I brought him in to the poker table. And Riggs Gaylor, one of the guys in our group, looked at it and he says, "That's not a baby, that's a moose." So Glenn had the name Moose. He carried it through kindergarten. When he came home after a few days of kindergarten and said, "Mama, Is my real name Glenn? Yes. Well, would you call me Glenn from now on then? Glenn has always been a very deep, sentimental, loving person. For some reason, I don't think he's ever really been able to be a successful, responsible person. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, if it was drugs or just maybe Chris. He's never gotten over that. Rocky uses that against him all too often. But to this day, for all his faults, Glenn is so sweet and caring. Unless you really know him, you would never realize what a soft-hearted, special man he is. He takes care of Marcia and I. This morning, he called and asked, "Are you guys okay? How are you feeling today? Do you need anything?" Constant, he takes care of us, and we love him dearly. And I really wish that the rest of you knew him like we do.
Go ahead.
We missed you. Oh, we're not to you yet. Okay. Bun was born in San Jose. Scott was born in Ohio. Everybody else was born in California, in Sacramento. Anyhow, or San Jose, I'm sorry. Be that as it may. Bun came along. She was also a very good baby. She was had labor. I was in labor for 24 hours with her, and she waited until 15 minutes after midnight to get here, or she would have been a leap year baby. So, stubborn little thing. She didn't want to be a leap year. She didn't want to have a birthday every 4 years. Anyway, Bun has always been a sweet, happy, easy to get along with, very intelligent person. I'm very proud of Bun. Like all of my kids, she's intelligent, she's responsible, a good employee, everything that a parent wants their child to be. My kids are that.
Nice.
I have so many stories about Nancy. Her father did not believe she was his for ages after she was born, until Barbara came along. Then he had to believe it. Anyway, Nancy was the apple of her father's eye, regardless, the apple of everybody's eye. Her and her kinky hair. She was, oh my God, she was something else. Too hard to even describe. When she was older and we were racing and we got Joker, Scott named her Jacoby and him Jokerby, and they rode together in the little stroller all over the place. Nancy cut teeth, probably the hardest of any of our babies, and she grabbed a chicken bone, a leg bone from me one day and chomped on that, and helped her more than anything else. So we kept getting her chicken bones to cut her teeth on. And people are making fun of me today for that, but it worked like a charm. She quit crying and chomped away on her bones. Nancy is the pride of my life. She not only is brilliant, she not only is astute in business and everything she does, but she is, oh God, gregarious about everything she believes in and loves. She'll go get it and do it. But most of all, I am proud of who she is in her job. But the thing that makes me the proudest of Nancy, my beautiful angel, is what she has done for these boys, these new grandsons she has given us. The chance for their life, and they are taking it, and I am so proud of her. It goes beyond anything that I can express in words. Nancy is purely not just an angel, but a saint. And I can't tell you how proud I am of that lady. Oh my God, my bubbly little weeby. How can I say it? She was born a doll. She's still a doll. She's somebody you can depend on. She's somebody who will tell you what she thinks regardless. She don't give a damn if you don't like it. If it might insult you or hurt you, if she feels it and thinks it, she'll tell you. She was our attack secretary back in Orangeville. I love that girl.
Hold on. Okay, keep going again. Barbara.
Okay.
Sparkling, bubbly.
Sparkly, bubbly, beautiful, responsible, intelligent, bright. What can I say? She raised a beautiful family. I am so proud of her. She checks up on me all the time, makes sure I'm okay. I just love her to pieces. My incorrigible baby boy. Oh my God, my little skookum-doo. He was his dad's pride and joy. Barney always was cautious and kept himself safe as a little boy, but yet he was the daredevil of the world. It's hard to really explain him, but Barney is a genius, I believe, and people might scoff at that because he didn't do well in school. He's not that kind of a genius. He is a mechanical genius. He really is. He can take something, tear it apart, put it back together, or just look at it and see what it needs. Barney is, I think, in that respect, he takes 100% after his dad. I am very, very proud of Barney, and I'm concerned for Barney. I hate that he's alone in the world with only his family. We all love him dearly, and we're all very proud of him, but I wish he had someone of his own to be there for him and care for him. And I hope he knows how much the rest of us love him, because we all do. He's our character and our little rock. Mm-hmm. My baby. Sarah was such a beautiful, perfect child to raise. I honestly used to worry that something would happen to her because she was so perfect. Used to scare me. I waited for her to be bad, and I don't think she ever was in her life. She fell off a horse and broke her arm, a serious break, protecting Danny, because he was in her arms. I mean, she just so precious. She was so shy when she was a little girl. I went to her first grade conference, and the teacher told me, I'm worried about Sarah. She sits in the very back chair in the room and won't participate in show or tell. And I told her, I'm going to tell you something. Don't worry about her. I guarantee you, when this year is over and you promote her from the first grade to the second grade, she will have absorbed more of what you have taught these kids this year than any other child in this class. And when that year was over and we had a school day at the end of the year, she came up to me and said, you were right. That kid knows everything that she was taught.